Hello everyone, Alec Elcher the SideQuest Gamer here with a shorter than usual review so I have more time to work on the AM2R video. Now, this review is on a somewhat forgotten NES game. It seems that only hardcore NES buffs and hardcore Super Smash Bros. Fans even know of this game's existence. And that would be Clu Clu Land for the NES. It was a launch title, so why was it forgotten? Heck, people remember Gyromite and Stack Up more than this game. It's no secret that when the NES launched in North America, it took our world by storm, from resolving the crash of 1983 to evolving what the Atari 2600 established in gaming. This was the next step in gaming, and 1985's Super Mario Bros. Already broke new ground. It wasn't the first platformer of its type because 1984's Pac-Land was somewhat similar in design, but it was the platformer that defined the console gaming market in the third generation and continued to do so with its sequels. But the real question is, what does Clu Clu Land and Super Mario Bros. Have in common though? They were both part of the first 18 launch titles you could get for the NES in North America upon launch. And of all of the launch titles and black box NES games, I think this one might just be my favorite of all of them. Yes, I haven't played all 18 launch titles, nor have I played all 28 black box NES games, but I feel like this one might be the one I go back to the most. Clu Clu Land is an arcade-like game where there is no definitive end and the goal is to see how far you can go, getting the highest score you can. Even though you can't save your high scores on the NES cartridges, so have your vintage Polaroid camera ready if you dare use your high score as a bragging right. Even then, no one would really care. The goal of the game is pretty simple on paper, but there is a surprising amount of depth to it that makes it all the more challenging. You play as a female fish named Bubbles, and the goal of the game is to uncover all the gems in the level in order to beat it, and then progress to the next one. How you do this is by going in between the two parallel pegs, and if the gem is there, it'll reveal itself. Some gems are lined up to form a picture, but not all the gems are always linked to one another. But gems aren't the only thing that could be revealed. Sometimes rubber bands will reveal, throwing you back a bit, and there are several hazards out there to get you. You have to avoid the blue Unira enemies when they are blue, but you do have some sonar attack at your disposal to turn them orange, resulting in them being paralyzed, and to defeat them and get some points, push them into a wall and squish them to death. But the Unira enemies do respawn though. You also have to avoid the vortexes where the Unira enemies spawn from, because that's an instant kill hazard unless you swing in the peg before it. But the biggest hazard for this game, and definitely where the challenge comes from, the limited time you have to beat the stage, because you have a set amount of time to line up the gems or uncover all the gems in order to complete the level. If you don't finish it in time and the counter reaches 0, you lose a life and the time resets, but you can still finish the picture and move on. It also doesn't help that the gem formation solutions are different every time you play the game, just to keep you interested instead of just breezing through the levels like a speedrunner uncovering every secret you knew beforehand. The amount of gems you have to uncover to beat the level are displayed on a counter on the top of the screen, so you shouldn't have too much trouble beating these levels. From the look of this game, the graphics are very charming, especially for 1985. I didn't know Bubbles was a fish until hearing about it from other sources, but regardless, the sprite work is pretty detailed, going for a unique cartoony style many early NES games were known for. It's neat how the sprites of the gems were later used as a single rupee item in 1986's The Legend of Zelda. The art style didn't try to go for anything beyond what it wanted to accomplish with the limitations of the NES hardware, and I think it succeeds in that regard, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And the controls are surprisingly what makes this game for me. Yes, you can go up or down normally in a traditional sense, but turning is where it gets very interesting, as it's not as simple as press left and you move left, and vice versa. No. Depending on the direction, if you hold left or right, you don't turn until one of your fins makes contact with a peg, and swing to the left or right until you let go. You can swing around if you don't let go of the peg until you're ready, making for some very interesting maneuvers. But if there is one aspect that is not as good as the others, it's probably the music, because the stage theme is the one you'll be hearing a lot. I don't find it bad by any means, but it just feels like a series of notes being fast-paced for the sake of being fast-paced rather than to have some rhythm to it. I mean, take Super Mario Bros. Overworld theme. It's iconic because there's rhythm that's pleasant to hear and just the right tempo for a platforming game of its type. Now take something like the Ice Climber stage theme. Even though I don't like that game, the stage theme is simple, catchy, and has a rhythm to it that makes it somewhat memorable. But because of Clu Clu Land's stage theme having a seemingly random arrangement of notes, it's really hard to remember. And bear in mind, this is a song you'll hear throughout the game. It does an alright job accompanying the gameplay, but when I turn off the game after the average 20-minute session, I still can't remember it off the top of my head, unlike the Ice Climber and Super Mario Bros. Themes. So overall, Clu Clu Land is an excellent game. There is most definitely a place among your 3DS and Wii U downloads for this game, and it's only $5 on the eShop, but if you want a loose card of it, I think that's pretty affordable too, although you'll have to pay like $7 more for it. Clu Clu Land is not an easy game. As you progress, Bubbles moves faster as well as the enemies, and there are just more hazards as the stages go by. In stage 1 there was 1 vortex, but by stage 5 there are 4 vortexes. I've never made it even close to stage 21, which according to the long plays I've seen, is the very last stage of the game before looping. And while it's not a game you would play for an hour, it is a game I can see you going back to a lot. It is a very pick up and play kind of game. If you have a friend, I bet that would be an even better experience. Same goal, except now there are 2 bubbles. I'm not sure if the game is changed to accompany this though, as I never tested it for myself and only have seen other people play it, but 2-player looks like a lot of fun regardless. Clu Clu Land may not get the representation something like Super Mario Bros. Or Ice Climber gets in other products like as playable Smash Bros. Characters into the Super Smash Bros. Games, but Bubbles does appear in Super Smash Bros. Melee as a trophy, and better yet, the main theme is remixed in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, with it being less confusing and much more memorable. It would be cool if this game received a sequel, but what we have here is definitely as good as it needed to be. Now, I know this review is much shorter than my others, but you'll like what's to come soon. Stay tuned for the next review. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember to stay awesome!